The fist came out of nowhere, cracking against my jaw like a thunderclap in the dead of a Midwest night. I tasted blood, coppery and warm, spilling over my tongue as the world tilted. The high school football field blurring into a kaleidoscope of green turf and screaming faces under the Friday night lights. "Faggot," my best friend spat. His voice a venomous whisper that cut deeper than the punch. His alpha swagger crumbling into something feral as the crowd's cheers turned to shocked gasps. I hit the ground hard, the grass cool and unforgiving against my cheek. And in that split second, as stars exploded behind my eyelids, I realized hiding wasn't survival anymore, it was surrender. That was the night everything shattered. Back in the fall of 2015. In the heart of small-town Ohio, where the air smelled like fresh-cut fields and unyielding expectations. Eldridge High was the kind of place where Friday nights weren't just games, they were rituals. Altars to the gods of masculinity we all pretended to worship. I was Elijah Harper, the scrawny equipment manager for the Eagles. The kid who laced up cleats and handed out water bottles with a smile that never quite reached my eyes. Born a beta in a world of alphas, I learned early to blend into the shadows, head down, jokes light, never lingering too long in the locker room steam. My family didn't help. Dad was the town mechanic, broad-shouldered and beer-bellied. The guy who'd clap you on the back hard enough to rattle your teeth while quoting some Fox News rant about real men. Mom baked apple pies for church potlucks and whispered prayers for my soul when she thought I wasn't listening. They loved me. Sure. In that conditional way small-town folks do, as long as I played the part. Straight A student, church youth group volunteer, the helpful son who mowed lawns for extra cash. But inside, I was a storm of secrets. Every glance at a teammate sculpted back in the showers a spark against dry tinder. It started innocent enough. That forbidden pull. Freshman year, I'd catch myself staring at Coach Harlan's assistant, Tyler "Tyke" Reynolds, the golden boy quarterback with sun-bleached hair and a grin that could melt steel. He was everything I wasn't, 6'2", built like a farm-bred god, the kind of guy who dated cheerleaders and dreamed of Ohio State scholarships. I'd tell myself it was admiration, but deep down, in the quiet hours tracing constellations on my bedroom ceiling, I knew the truth. I was gay. And in Eldridge. That made me a ghost in my own life. So I hid. Did I hide? Fake crushes on girls from biology class. Awkward dances at homecoming where I'd step on toes and laugh it off. I'd join the guys for bonfires, nursing a soda while they swapped stories about conquests, my cheeks burning not from the flames but from the lies I swallowed. Elijah's got that quiet charm, Tyke would say, slinging an arm around my shoulders, his touch electric and accidental. One day, some girl's gonna snag him. I'd nod, heart hammering, and mumble something about focusing on school. But that night under the lights, the mask cracked wide open. It was homecoming against our rivals, the Riverton Raiders. The score was tied in the fourth quarter, tension thick as humidity. Tyke had thrown a perfect spiral, and we'd pulled ahead by 3. The crowd was electric, pom-poms waving like flags in a war we were winning. As the final whistle blew, the team piled on, a dog pile of sweat and triumph. I was on the sidelines, towel in hand, cheering like always, until Tyke broke free, grabbed me in a bear hug, and planted a victory kiss on my cheek. It was nothing, the bro thing, the kind alphas did without thinking. But in the frenzy, his lips lingered a beat too long, his breath hot against my skin. The roar faded. Someone shoved me hard. What the hell was that? It was Brock Harlan, the linebacker, Tyke's cousin and the team's enforcer. His face twisted like he'd swallowed glass. The huddle broke, eyes turning our way. Tyke laughed it off, punching my arm. Just hyped. Eli's my lucky charm. But Brock wasn't laughing. He stepped in close, his bulk eclipsing the stadium lights. And that's when the fist flew. The punch landed square, sending me sprawling. The crowd's cheers morphed into murmurs, then silence. Tyke froze, his face draining of color. Brock, what the fuck? But it was too late. The word hung in the air, faggot, like smoke from a Molotov, igniting everything. Phones came out, flashes popping like gunfire. I scrambled up, blood trickling from my split lip, the metallic tang mixing with the sour knot in my gut. I started, but my voice cracked. Pathetic. Brock loomed over me, chest heaving. Don't play dumb. Equipment boy. We all see how you look at us. The team shifted, uneasy alliances fracturing. Some looked away, others nodded, like they'd been waiting for this perch. Tyke stepped forward, hand on Brock's shoulder. Back off. 'Cause it's not, but Brock shrugged him off, eyes wild. You defending him? After that shit? The coaches rushed in, whistles blaring, but the damage was done. Principal Whitaker arrived minutes later, her face a mask of Midwestern politeness masking horror. Elijah. Let's get you to the nurse. I let her lead me away. The field's lights blurring through tears I refused to let fall. Behind me, Tyke's voice cut through. This isn't over. Illy. I got you. But it was over. For me. In Eldridge. That punch wasn't just bone on bone. It was the universe cracking open, spilling my secrets into the light. By Monday, the whispers had metastasized. Notes in my locker, queer. Spray paint on my truck, go back to hell. Dad found out over breakfast, his fork clattering against the plate. Is it true? He asked. Voice low and dangerous, like revving an engine before a crash. Mom cried into her coffee, clutching her cross necklace. We raised you better, Elijah. This isn't us. I wanted to scream that it was me, all of me, the parts they'd never seen. But I just nodded. Throat tight. It's a misunderstanding, Dad. Lies were my armor now, heavier than ever. School became a minefield. Hallways parted like the Red Sea, but not in reverence, in revulsion. Girls who'd giggled with me in study hall now crossed themselves. Guys who'd high-fived me now sneered. Tyke tried. He tried. He'd corner me by the vending machines, eyes earnest. Brock's an asshole. Family pressure. You know, but I'm with you. Whatever this is. His hand on my arm sent sparks up my spine. But trust? That was a luxury I couldn't afford. One afternoon, after dodgeball in PE, where accidentally aimed balls left bruises blooming like ink on my ribs, I skipped last period and drove out to the old quarry on the edge of town. The water was a deep, glassy blue, reflecting the overcast sky like a broken mirror. I sat on the ledge, legs dangling, the wind whipping my hair as I hurled rocks into the abyss. Each splash echoed my heartbeat. Alone. 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 That's when my phone buzzed. Not a text, a video. Sent from an anonymous number. But I knew. It was grainy footage from the game. Zoomed in on Tyke's kiss. My dazed smile after. The caption, Beta bitch exposed. Who's next? My stomach lurched. I deleted it. But it was everywhere by dinner. Snapchat streaks. Facebook shares. Even the local paper's online forum buzzing with concerned parents. Dad confronted me that night in the garage. Oil-stained hands clenched. This stops now. Son. We're getting you help. The word tasted like ash. He meant conversion therapy. The kind they whispered about in church basements, electric shocks and prayers to fix what God supposedly broke. Mom hovered in the doorway. Eyes red. For your soul, Elijah. We love you too much to let you burn. I packed a bag that night, jeans, a hoodie, the emergency cash from my lawn mowing gigs. Slipped out the back door at 2 a.m., the gravel crunching under my sneakers like accusations. Hitchhiked east on I-70, thumb out under sodium lamps, heart pounding with every semi that roared past. Columbus was my beacon, Ohio State, the big city lights, a chance to vanish. But freedom? It came with barbs. The first ride was from a trucker named Hank, grizzled and kind-eyed, who bought me coffee at a pilot station. Running from something? Kid, he asked. Slurping black brew. I shrugged, staring at the steam curling like ghosts. Just toward something better. He dropped me at a Greyhound depot, slipping me a 20. Stay safe out there. World's full of wolves. Columbus swallowed me whole. Buckeye banners everywhere. The air thick with fried pretzels and ambition. I crashed on a park bench that first night, shivering under stars that felt too far away. By morning, I'd pawned my watch for bus fare to the campus library, where I scoured Craigslist for gigs. Barista at a dive called the Rusty Mug. $8 an hour plus tips. The owner, Ria, a no-nonsense Latina with tattoos snaking up her arms. Eyed my split lip and didn't ask. Start tomorrow. And kid, don't let him see you bleed. The job was salvation and torture. Mornings blending lattes for hungover co-eds. Evenings wiping counters while indie rock whined from the speakers. I rented a closet-sized room above a laundromat, peeling wallpaper. A hot plate that sparked like fireworks. I'd lie awake, the hum of dryers below lulling me into dreams of Tyke's laugh, his hand brushing mine. Betrayal stung fresh. He'd texted once, "Where are you? We need to talk," before going radio silent. Probably for the best. Alphas like him didn't chase betas into the shadows. But shadows have eyes. One rainy Tuesday, as thunder rattled the windows, a guy slid onto a stool at the counter. Lean like a reed in the wind, with olive skin, dark curls, and eyes like polished obsidian, deep, pulling you under. He ordered a black coffee, no sugar, and watched me like I was a puzzle he couldn't resist. Rough night? He asked, nodding at the fresh bruise on my knuckles, from punching a wall in frustration. Not a face. I forced a grin. Just clumsy, but he saw through it. Those eyes stripping layers I'd wrapped tight. I'm Luca, he said. extending a hand calloused from something. Guitar strings. Maybe. Art major. You. Elijah. Barista. Survivor. The word slipped out. Unbidden. To. Low and warm. Like honey over gravel. We all are. In this town. We talked until closing about Columbus's hidden speakeasies. The best street art spots. How the river smelled like secrets at midnight. He was from Detroit. Transferred last semester. Chasing dreams of gallery shows and a life unbound by Rust Belt chains. Fit. Unapologetic. With a boyfriend back home who'd drifted, leaving scars that mirrored my own. That night, walking him to his bus, the rain slicking our skin, he paused under a street lamp. You're not from here, Elijah. But you could be. His fingers grazed mine, deliberate, electric. I pulled back, heart slamming. Not ready, I whispered. He nodded. No pressure. When you are, find me at the Beanery on High Street. I'll be the one sketching strangers. I didn't go. Not that week. Or the next. But Luca lingered. A what if in the steam of espresso machines. Instead, I buried myself in routine, shifts bleeding into study sessions at the library, where I enrolled part-time in community college courses, psychology. Because understanding the monsters in my head seemed like step one. Friends? Maria became a surrogate mom, slipping me empanadas and stories of her own escape from a judgmental familia. But real connection? That was a risk. A crack in the armor. Then came the call. Late October. Leaves turning the Scioto blood red. My phone buzzed with an Ohio number, Tyke. I almost let it ring out, but curiosity won. Illy. His voice was wrecked, like he'd been crying or screaming or both. Where the hell are you? Everyone's losing it. I gripped the receiver. The laundromat's fluorescent buzz mocking me. Why do you care? Silence. Then, because I do. Brooke. He told everyone it was my fault. Said the team's a mess. Coach suspended him. But the rumors, they're saying I am too. My laugh was bitter. Shards of glass. And are you? Another pause. Heavier. I don't know. But that night, when I kissed you, it wasn't nothing. For me, the line went dead, dropped, or hung up. I slid down the wall, knees to chest, the world narrowing to the thump of my pulse. Questioning. It should have been victory, but it felt like quicksand, pulling me back to Eldridge's grip. I ghosted Luca harder after that, dodging the Beanery like it was plague. But fate's a cruel barista, serving twists you didn't order. Election night rolled around, 2016. The air electric with division. Trump signs sprouted like weeds in Ohio. Make America Great Again, hats bobbing in the rusty mug like buoys in a storm. Tempers flared. A customer hurled a mug at the TV when Hillary's numbers dipped. Shards embedding in my palm. Luca showed up the next shift. Soaked from the drizzle. Sketchbook under his arm. Heard about the chaos. Thought you might need backup. He bandaged my hand with napkins and tape. His touch gentle, steady. We closed together. Rain lashing the windows as we talked politics. The way fear turns neighbors into strangers. By the end, as I locked up, he leaned in. Fight back? Elijah. Not with fists, with truth. His lips brushed my forehead, chaste as a promise. I didn't pull away. That was the spark. The next day, I Googled late-night scrolling forums, reading stories of kids like me who'd clawed out of the closet and into the light. It started small, a rainbow pin on my backpack, invisible to most but a beacon to the brave. Then, an anonymous post on the Eldridge High Reddit, to the alphas, betas have hearts too. Stop punching shadows. The backlash was swift. Trolls doxed the IP, sloppy VPN on my part, tracing it to Columbus. Dad called. Voice thunder. What the hell are you stirring up? Boy, come home. We'll fix this. No, I said. Steel in my spine for the first time. I'm done hiding. But hiding's a habit. Hard to break. Luca and I started seeing each other, not dates. Not yet. But stolen coffees. Walks along the Olentangy where the water whispered encouragements. He drew me once. In charcoal, not the broken boy from the quarry, but a warrior. Eyes fierce. This is you, he said, pressing the sketch into my hand. Believe it. Tyke wouldn't let go. Texts escalated. I came out to coach. Said the punch was bullshit. Miss you? Eli. Attached. A photo of him at a pride sticker on his truck's dash. Tentative but real. My thumb hovered over reply. Heart warring with head. Then betrayal struck like lightning. Brooke. In town for a game. Spotted me at a campus queer alliance meetup. Posters everywhere. Love wins. I was there for moral support. Luca's hand in mine under the table. Brock's glare from across the street burned holes. By morning, my phone exploded, screenshots from Tyke's feed. Hacked or leaked, our old texts. Twisted into evidence of my seduction. Beta whore corrupts QB, the caption read. Shared across Eldridge groups. Called. Frantic. It wasn't me. I swear. Brock, he's unhinged. Said if I don't denounce you. He's telling the scouts I'm distracted by. This. The word hung. A noose or a lifeline. Choose. Tyke, I whispered. Them or me? I can't. Static. Then silence. The knife twisted deeper when the article hit. Local paper. Scandal rocks Eldridge Eagles. Gay rumors threaten season. My face blurred in the background of a team photo. But everyone knew. Climax brewed that weekend. A protest in Columbus. Countering a hate rally downtown. White nationalists waving flags. Counter-protesters chanting for love. I went with Luca. Sign in hand, born this way, fight back. The air crackled. Megaphones blaring slurs that echoed Eldridge's ghosts. That's when Tyke appeared, weaving through the crowd like a specter. Bruised jaw. Eyes haunted. Eli. He grabbed my arm, pulling me aside as chants swelled. I told them. All of it. Brock's done, kicked off the team. And me. I'm here. Luca tensed beside me. But I saw it, Tyke's hand. Trembling. Holding a crumpled pride flag. I choose you, he said. Voice breaking. If you'll have me. Tears stung. Rain mixing with them on my cheeks. But betrayal's echo lingered. Prove it. Tooted in the chaos. As bottles flew and cops surged. Tyke linked arms with us, shouting down the hate. A rock grazed his temple. blood welling. But he didn't flinch. "For you," he gasped, collapsing against me. We dragged him to safety, Luca calling 911, my hands pressing his wound. In the ER, fluorescent hell mirroring that stadium night, Tyke gripped my fingers. I was scared, illy, of losing everything. But without you, it's nothing. Luca watched from the corner, eyes soft. "He's yours," he murmured later, as Tyke slept. "Go heal that." But healing's not linear. I returned to Eldridge once. For graduation. Tyke's? Not mine. Dad met me at the door. Arms open. No words needed. Mom baked pie. Rainbow sprinkles on top. "We see you now," she said. Brock slunk away. Family shamed. A cautionare tale. Tyke and I? We built slow, long-distance calls turning to weekend drives. His scholarship to OSU a bridge across the miles. Luca, the brother I needed, sketching our story in galleries that whispered, "Courage." Years later, in a Brooklyn loft, Tyke's pro tryouts leading us east, I traced the scar on his temple. Our bodies tangled in sheets soft as forgiveness. We fought back, I say, his laugh rumbling against my chest. America's alphas still roar. But betas? We rise. Not with fists, but with hearts unhidden. Love our sharpest weapon. And in the quiet, when doubt creeps, I remember, I was born for this fight. And I won. The loft in Brooklyn wasn't just walls and windows overlooking the East River. It was a testament to reinvention. Exposed bricks scarred by time. Potted ferns defying the concrete jungle below. Take Tyler now. To the scouts who eyed his arm like a golden ticket, lounged on the worn leather couch. Feet propped on a coffee table cluttered with playbooks and half-eaten Thai takeout. His hair had grown out, curling at the nape, and the farm boy bulk had sharpened into pro-athlete lean. But those eyes, stormy gray, always searching, were the same. I watched him from the kitchenette, stirring pasta sauce that bubbled like my unresolved aches. 2 years since the protest, one since we'd signed the lease together. And so, some nights, the old fears slithered in. "You okay?" he asked, not looking up from his phone, but like he always did. "Yeah." Lie number 1 of the evening. The truth was, an email from Eldridge High had pinged my inbox that morning, an invite to speak at their first inclusivity assembly. Principal Whitaker, post-scandal redemption arc in full swing. Facing our shadows, a survivor's story. My stomach had knotted, memories flooding back, the punch, the whispers, the quarry's edge. Tyke set his phone down, padding over in socks that whispered against the hardwood. His arms wrapped around me from behind, chin on my shoulder, the scent of his soap, cedar and citrus, grounding. "Talk to me, Eli," I said, spoon clinking against the pot. "They want me to go back. Share my journey." The words tasted sarcastic, laced with the bile of old wounds. He turned me gently, thumbs brushing my cheeks. And what? Parade my pain for the alphas who broke me? For the ones who watched? My voice cracked, vulnerability spilling like the sauce threatening to boil over. Tyke's gaze held steady. No pity, just that quiet strength I'd fallen for. "Or you show them the man who rose. The one who saved me." He kissed my forehead, lingering. "But it's your call. Always." That night, tangled in bed with the city humming beyond the fire escape, I dreamed of the quarry again. Not falling, but standing, arms wide. Wind carrying my shout into the void, I am enough. Woke with Tyke's heartbeat under my palm, steady as a drum. The flight to Ohio was turbulence incarnate, mirroring the churn in my gut. Mom picked me up at the airport, her hug fierce, new laugh lines etching her face like roads to forgiveness. Your father's coaching Little League now, she said, navigating the rental car's GPS with tentative swipes. Inclusive rules, no trash talk. Dad waited at the house. Grill smoking in the backyard, burgers sizzling like olive branches. He pulled me into a backslapper, eyes misty. Proud of you, son. For everything. No mention of prayers or fixes, just presence. Eldridge hadn't changed, same cracked sidewalks. The Dairy Queen neon flickering like a heartbeat. Football banners still draped over Main Street. But the air felt lighter. Or maybe that was me, older. But unbowed. The assembly was in the gym. Bleachers packed with fidgety teens. The scent of rubber mats and teenage sweat thick. Principal Whitaker introduced me with scripted warmth. Elijah Harper, one of our own, returns to remind us that strength isn't in silence. Claws polite. But ice, those were wary. Waiting for the bomb. Like the mic. Legs jelly. The spotlight hot on my skin. No notes, this was raw. 3 years ago, I was on this floor, handing out Gatorade. Invisible. Until a punch made me visible for all the wrong reasons. Gasps rippled. I described it, the fist, the blood. Paused for the flinches. I hid because I thought betas like me didn't belong among alphas. That love like mine was a weakness. Eyes locked on a boy in the front row, slight build. Glasses. Sketching furiously. He looked up, nodding. A silent ally. But hiding? It almost drowned me. The quarry. The hitchhike. Columbus's cold benches. Tyke's call. Luca's sketches. Suppose. Rocks flying. Betrayal cuts deepest from those closest. But courage? It's choosing truth over comfort. Every time. Questions came tentative. Does it get better? From a girl with purple hair. It does, I said. When you fight back, with words. With showing up. A hand shot up. Good. Expelled but back for senior year on probation. Bokir. Eyes downcast. I'm sorry, he mumbled. Voice amplified awkward. Therapy helped. I was scared too, of not being man enough. The gym hushed. I nodded. Throat tight. Fear makes monsters. But owning it? That's the alpha move. Kids swarmed. Numbers exchanged. Stories whispered. The sketch boy, Timmy, slipped me his drawing, me at the mic, haloed in light. You're my hero, he said. Mom cried in the car ride home. You did good, baby, but good doesn't erase ghosts. That night, alone in my old room, posters peeled, bed sagging, I scrolled Tyke's texts, killing it in drills. Miss your voice. A video attached, him in Giants gear. Winking at the camera. In a heartbeat. Luca called too. From his Detroit gallery show. Heard you slayed the dragons. Brother. His laugh warmed the line. We drifted into friendship. The kind that heals. Him with a new bow. Me with Tyke. But our bond unbreakable. Back in Brooklyn. Tyke greeted me at the gate. Duffel slung over his shoulder from a weekend camp. We fucked slow that night. Bodies mapping familiar territories. His whispers in my ear, my beta. My everything. No alphas here, just us. Equals in the dark. But America doesn't let you forget. Winter brought scandals. Tyke's team. The Giants Farm League. Rocked by hazing tapes, rookies stripped. Taunted with slurs. He came home raging. Slamming cabinets. Same shit. Different city. Coach says boys will be boys. I pulled him to the couch. His head in my lap. Then be the change. Call it out. He did. Anonymous leak to the press, no names, but details sharp. Hazing isn't tradition, it's trauma. The story blew up. ESPN panels debating. Tyke's quiet nod in interviews, seen it. Stopped it. Once. Backlash hit hard, locker room whispers. Scouts side-eyeing. One night. Post-practice. He stumbled in. Lips split. Eyes shadowed. Teammate. Said I was soft for speaking up. For you. I clean the blood. Ice pack gentle. Soft? You're the strongest man I know. He cupped my face. Kiss salty. Only because you taught me. Spring thawed the chill. But conflict simmered. Tyke's contract loomed, big leagues or bust. Tryouts in Florida. Heat oppressive as expectations. I tagged along. Laptop for my freelance editing gig. Psych articles on resilience. Irony not lost. Miami was a fever dream. Palm fronds rustling. Ocean salt stinging. We holed up in a condo. Mornings him at fields. Me riding by the balcony. Waves crashing like applause. Evenings. We'd walk the beach. Barefoot. His hand in mine. Public now. Heads high. But alphas lurk everywhere. At a team mixer, sponsors. Schmoozers and polos, Tyke's agent pulled him aside. Words out you're involved. Some owners twitchy. Keep it low-key. Yeah. Tyke's jaw clenched. Low-key? I'm not hiding. Rick. The agent shrugged. Your call. But rings mean endorsements. Rings mean security. That night. Over conch fritters. Tyke stared at the surf. What if I lose it all? For us. I took his hand. Sand gritty between fingers. You won't. And if you do, we rebuild. Like always. Betrayal's shadow fell anyway. A tabloid drop, Giants prospect's secret, gay lover sabotages season? Blurry photo of us on the beach. My head on his shoulder. Source to Brock? Deeper, Rick? The agent? Shopping dirt for damage control. Tyke confronted him at dawn. Jim bag flying. You sold us out? Rick's laugh was oily. Business? They want winners. Not headlines. Fired on the spot. Tyke walked into my arms at the condo. Shaking. I'll coach. Or quit. As long as it's with you. The climax crested that week. Final tryout. Scouts circling like vultures. Tyke through fire, spiral slicing air. Feet dancing turf. But midway. Dirty, from a rival lineman. Shoulder popping audible. Down he went. field spinning. I vaulted the barrier. Coaches parting. Tyke, his face ashen, but grin weak. For you, Ellie. Always, again déjà vu biter. Torn labrum. Season over. Tears came then. His on my shirt. Mine silent. Dreams dead, he choked. No, I said. Fierce. It's evolving. Rehab was hell. PT sessions in a strip mall clinic. Tyke gritting through pulleys. Me quizzing him on plays like flashcards. Brooklyn's summers sweltered. But we swam in it. Picnics in Prospect Park. Tyke coaching youth flag football. Kids flocking to his stories. Luca visited. Canvas in tow. Painted your fight, he said. Unveiling, us on the beach. Waves as witnesses. Colors defiant. Sold for 5 figures. Proceeds to a queer youth fund. Dad flew in for Tyke's unretirement party, a low-key barbecue on the roof. Stars pricking the skyline. You too, he said. Clinking beers. You're the real MVPs. Humanity's quiet victories. Mom's Skyping weekly. Eldridge's Jamie coming out. Driving. Tyke's podcast launch, Beyond the Huddle, Real Talk on Masculinity, episodes raw. Guests vulnerable. One night. Fireflies dancing like firecrackers. Tyke knelt in the grass. Not with a ring, too cliché, but a jersey. Mine from high school. Mended. Marry me. Elijah. Not despite the breaks. Because of them. Tears blurred the stitches. Yes. The wedding was Ohio riverbed. Small. Sacred. Luca best man. Sketching vows. No alphas dictating, just love. Unapologetic. Years blur now. Tyke's coaching gig at a Brooklyn charter. Kids calling him Coach True. My book, Beta Rising, on shelves. Stories like ours stitching wounds nationwide. We fight still. Small battles against doubt's whisper. But in each other's arms, betas become unbreakable. America roars. But our love? It echoes louder. The river ran lazy under the summer sun. A ribbon of brown silk threading through the fields of upstate New York, where we'd escaped for our first anniversary. Not Ohio's muddy Scioto, but the Hudson's wider embrace, flanked by hills that rolled like the breaths of sleeping giants. Tyke had insisted on the cabin, rustic, off-grid, with a dock that creaked under our weight and a fire pit that spat stars into the velvet night. No scouts, no scripts, he'd said, loading the truck with coolers and kayaks. Just us. I paddled ahead, the canoe slicing water smooth as glass. Tyke's laughter trailing like a melody. His shoulders flexed under the faded OSUT. Scars from surgeries faint silver on his skin. Marriage had softened his edges, not weakness, but a settled peace, like river stones polished by time. We'd said, I do, 6 months back. Vows exchanged with the Olentangy murmuring image. But this was honeymoon deferred. Life's chaos yielding to intention. That chaos had name, the podcast surge. Beyond the Huddle hit viral after an episode with a retired NFLer outing his own struggles, depression, hidden affairs. The alpha facade crumbling. Downloads spiked. Invites poured. TEDx? ESPN roundtables. Tyke thrived in the spotlight now. Voice steady where mine still quavered. My book tour wrapped last month, 20 cities. Faces in crowds mirroring my younger self, wide-eyed, wounded. waiting for permission to breathe. But permission's fragile. Back in Brooklyn, emails lurked like landmines. One from Eldridge, Jamie, my sketch boy hero. Hospitalized after a beating, hate crime, the note read. He asks for you. My chest caved. Old quarry ghosts rising. Tyke found me at the kitchen table that morning. Laptop glowing accusatory. Eli. His hand on my neck. Thumb circling knots. Jamie's hurt. The word stuck. Thorns. He pulled me up. Into the circle of his arms. We'll go. Together. The drive to Ohio was a time machine. Cornfields blurring past like faded photographs. Tyke drove. One hand on my thigh. Radio low on Springsteen. Thunder Road, anthems for runaways. We talked it out, the fear that progress was illusion. 1 step forward, 2 shove back. America's waking up, he said. But slow. Like a hangover. Eldridge General was sterile hell. Beeps and bleach assaulting senses. Jamie lay in a bed too big for his frame. Bruises blooming purple on his cheek. 4 dripping mercy. His parents hovered, Mom clutching a Bible. Dad staring at tiles, but lit up when we entered. Elijah. Tyler. Hugs awkward. Grateful. Jamie grinned through split lips. Sketchpad propped on his lap. Drew you guys? Wedding gift. It was us by the river. Fierce and tender. They jumped me after the game. Called me. You know. But I told him, I'm Elijah's beta too. Tears pricked. I sat, holding his hand, fragile bones under mine. You're braver than I was. Nah, he whispered. You paved the road. We stayed a week. Tyke running drills with local kids. Turning the field into neutral ground. I spoke at the hospital's youth group. Words weaving wounds into wisdom. Brock showed up once, clean-shaven. Community college dropout turned counselor aide. Can I help? He asked. Voice rough with redemption. Tyke tensed. But I nodded. Start by listening. Betrayal's echo faded there. In those talks, Brock admitting his own closet. The punch born of projection. I envied you, he said. Free. Even in hiding. Forgiveness isn't absolution, it's release. I gave it. Partial. For my safe. Back east? The podcast episode on Jamie dropped like a grenade. Raw interviews. His sketch as cover art. Backlash roared. Trolls doxing our address. Death threats pinging Tyke's DMs. Go back to your fag parade, one read. We upped security. But the fear festered. A low hum. Luca flew in for damage control. His new part, Sim. A poet with ink-stained fingers, in tow. Dinner at our place, pasta. Laughter defying the dark. Art as armor, Luca toasted. Unveiling a mural commission for a queer center, betas rising. Fists not raised but open. Palms up in invitation. But conflict brewed domestic too. Tyke's coaching offer, from a D1 school in Texas. Big money. Bigger stakes. It's a fresh start, he said over breakfast. Prospectus gleaming. For us. Fits. Maybe. Fits. The word hung. A dream deferred. We talked adoption, fostering first. Mending what the world broke. But Texas? Bible Belt Redux? Alphas in cowboy hats. What about safety? About it? Coffee bitter. After Jamie? His eyes flashed rare frustration. Hiding again. Illy. We fought for this. The argument escalated. Words weapons, my caution cowardice, his ambition selfish. Durchschlemmt. Tyke storming to the gym, me to the roof. City sprawl mocking our bubble. Hours later, he found me there. Six-pack in hand. I'm sorry. We sat. Backs against the ledge. Beers sweating in the heat. Texas was ego. You're my home. Relief flooded. But scars itched. Promise me, no more alphas dictating. Promise. His kiss sealed it. Salt and sorry. Summer waned. Fall igniting leaves like warnings. My book hit bestseller lists, unexpected. Humbling, interviews probing, how'd you survive? Love, I'd say. The kind that fights back. Tyke guested on my tour stop in Chicago. Surprise panel on masculinity's myths. Crowd electric? Q&A deep, a teen asking, how do I come out in a red state? Tyke, start with one truth. Build from there. Post-event. Hotel bar buzzing. The fan approached, older. Ex-player. Eyes knowing. You remind me of me. Hid for decades. Lost a marriage. Gained nothing. He slid Tyke his card. If you ever need to talk real. Tyke pocketed it. But later. Confessed. What if I'm not enough? For the long haul. I traced his jaw. Stubble rough. You're everything. Because you're you. Climax crash that Halloween. Podcast live from a Brooklyn haunt. Costumed guests spilling secrets. Midway. Heck, feed hijacket. Slurs scrolling. Our faces deep-faked in mock porn. Sponsors pulled. Platform threatened shutdown. Tyke paced the studio. Fists clenched. Oh, Brock's clean, Rick's blacklisted. Not them. Deeper, a rival podcaster. Jealous of our reach. Exposed in the code. Lawsuit loomed. But damage? Visceral. Hate mail surged. One envelope with powder, anthrax scare. Hazmat descending. We hold up. Luca crashing on the couch. Sam brewing tea like talismans. Fight smart, he urged. Tyke went public, presser raw. This isn't silencing us. It's spotlighting the cowards. The backlash boomeranged, allies mobilized. GoFundMe for security exploding. Episode re-aired. Views doubling. The hacker? Arrested. Charges federal. In the quiet after. Tyke and I walked the bridge at dawn, Brooklyn to Manhattan. Cables humming hymns. We almost broke, he said. Wind whipping. But we didn't. Hand in hand. City waking below. Humanism's grace, Jamie's recovery. Art show in Columbus. Dad's letter, coaching queers now. Loving it. Bum's quilt. Rainbow threads. Thanksgiving. We hosted Luca's fam. Tyke's scattered kin. Tables groaning. Toast to survival. Pies to sweetness. Winter whispered change, positive test from the agency, foster match. A boy named Riley. Quote, eyes haunted like mine once. He likes football, the social worker said. Tyke knelt to his level first meeting. No alpha posturing. Wanna toss a ball? Riley nodded. Tentative smile cracking. Our family, pieced from fragments, human. Riley's arrival folded into our lives like a puzzle piece we'd long suspected existed but never dared outline. The brownstone's third bedroom. Once Tyke's workout den. Transformed overnight, posters of Messi and Mahomes taped crooked. A desk scavenged from Craigslist scarred but sturdy. Shelves sagging under dog-eared sci-fi. He was wiry, all elbows and knees, with hair the color of wet sand and eyes that darted like cornered prey, Foster Systems polish. Thin as veneer. First night? Dinner awkward, spaghetti looping like nooses on forks. Tyke's jokes landing flat. So, Riley, ever play ball? Tigust? Voice pitched easy. The boy shrugged. Sauce smudged on his chin. Got kicked out. Too mouthy. I caught Tyke's glance, mirrored pain. Mouthy here's a feature. Not a bug, I said. Passing garlic bread. Saved my ass more than once. Riley's lips twitched. Not quite smile. He clutched the quilt Mom sent, stars embroidered fierce. You guys. For real. For real, Tyke whispered from the door. Parenting's no playbook. Especially queer foster dads in a city that choose vulnerability. Mornings, Tyke to the charter school gym. Me to the home office for edits. Riley to public high, Bronx science. Brains over brawn. Afternoons blurred, homework battles, his math a war zone. Park runs where Tyke taught spirals. Soft lobs arcing grace. But cracks spiderwebbed. Riley's file whispered horrors, bio-dad's rages. Mom's opioids. Shuffled homes like cards in a bad hand. Night terrors hit week 3, screams piercing walls. Tyke bolting in. Me trailing with water. Not real, he gasped. Sweats it. Promise. Promise, we'd echo. Tag team till dawn. Tyke channeled it into the podcast, special series, Fostering Futures, guests from caseworkers to kids aged out. Listeners flooded, you give hope. But hope's heavy, one episode. Riley overheard a caller's story, abandonment echo. Shut down for days. Hoodie Fortress. I found him on the fire escape. Sketching, dark swirls. No faces. Wanna talk? He shook head. You had once. Why? Truth time. Raw as peeled onion. The punch. The quarry. Tyke's choice. Fear's a liar, I said. Tells you love's not yours. He nodded. Pencil scratching. Mine said the same. Luca dropped by weekends. Sam in tow. Art supplies spilling. Draw the monsters, Luca urged. Riley's first piece, a beta wolf. Pack alphas circling, but teeth bared. About. Hung in the living room. Badge of battle. Conflict-crested spring, Riley's school dance. Sadie Hawkins' twist. He liked a boy. Mateo, shy violinist. Braces glinting. Can I? Riley asked. Ty clutched like lifeline. Tyke grinned. Gogan. Champ. But pick up, Mateo no-show. Whispers of faggot graffiti in the hall. Riley stormed in. Ty shredded. Told you. Alphas win. Tyke's face thunder. Not here. Not ever. We drove to the school next dawn, Tyke charming the principal. Me drafting a letter for the paper, Bronx Science, teach tolerance or lose tomorrow's leaders. When viral. Protests small but fierce. Mateo emerging, scared. But standing. First kiss chaperoned in our kitchen. awkward and pure. Betrayal's blade turned inward then. Tyke's old agent resurfaced, Rick. Slick as ever. With a offer, NFL consultant gig. Hush on the queer angle. Family man now, he schmoozed over lunch. Play straight. Cash in. Tyke laughed cold. I'm playing true. Doors that way. But doubts seated, bills mounting, therapy's no freebie. Podcast sponsors wary post-hack. One night, Tyke stared at the ceiling. Riley snoring down the hall. What if I'm failing him? Thus, I straddled his hips, hands framing his face. You're teaching him fight. That's legacy. Climax roared summer, agency review. Home visit. Social worker. Clipboard stern, bonding strong. Observations. Tyke coaching Riley's Pee-wee team. Inclusive drills, no slurs. All cheers. Me reading bedtime tales. Voices silly. Riley's art, family portrait. 3. Colors bold. But curveball, biomom surfaced. Rehab fresh. Custody petition filed. I changed, she claimed in court. Eyes teary. Riley froze. Loves tether yanking. Hearings dragged. Brooklyn courthouse a maze of legalese. Tyke testified first, he's ours. Not by blood. But choice. Me next, we see his shadows. And his light. Riley's turn broke us, voice small, they fought for me. You left. Judge ruled our way, foster to adopt pending. Mom's wail echoed. But Riley's hug mended. Ice cream on the pier, Coney Island. Ferris wheel spinning. Thanks, Riley mumbled. Cotton candy blue on lips. Dads. The word landed. Fall brought harvest, adoption finalized. Papers signed in a room smelling of coffee and closure. Party small, Luca's mural as cake topper. Jamie Skyping cheers. Tyke's ring glinted as he lifted Riley high. Our beta pack. Podcast peaked. Special on fatherhood. Queer edition. Guests raw. Dads sharing stumbles. Triumphs. Downloads soared. Book deals whispered. But humanism's heart, quiet moments. Winter walks. Riley's hand in mine. Tyke's arm round us. Eldridge visit, Grandpa now to our boy. Dad grilling. Mom's hugs endless. Snow blanketing brownstone stoops. Riley asked, you ever scared still? Every day, I admitted. But fighting back? That's the courage. Tyke from the kitchen, and loves the win. America's alphas fade, our story. Etched in lives changed, Jamie's gallery. Brock's counseling. Fans writing, you saved me. But Riley snores a lullaby. Tyke whispers, born beta. Became unbreakable. I kiss his scar. Together. The fight? Eternal. But victory's here, in breaths shared. Truths told. We rose. And keep rising.